All right, welcome Speed Gaming 2. This is a Week 7 League ALTTPR randomizer matchup between Perfect Unadulterated Gaming Squad, represented by Daaanty and Andy, and Used Bow, represented by Telethar and StructuralMike. I am Norsk Maddie, and I am joined here in the booth by Jesse. There is some playoff implications on the line in this matchup. Jesse, do you want to explain that?
Yes, hello. So what we got going on today is kind of a last chance for the Pugs here. The Pugs need to win today. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If the Pugs want playoffs, they have to beat Used Bow. Plus, they need some help. So not only do the Pugs need to win this game starting now-ish, but in an hour, TM32, one of their division opponents, is going to have their final game of the season as well. So they need to win this match and then hope that TM32 loses this afternoon. And I think TM32 is playing 3 off the tee. So some big stuff going on with this one.
Yes. And that one also will have division implications, although 3 off the tee has already made the playoffs. We're off here. Got some usual standard starts happening. It's like got the Sank to Bonk Rocks for Andy and Telethar, and then to the Castle for StructuralMike and Daaanty for Uncle Check, probably just, and Tree Pull. And for Used Bow, they are undefeated in the league so far, 13-0. That's with this being their final game. They have the opportunity to finish the season undefeated. We've seen that a couple of times before, but no one has ever finished off not only the undefeated regular season, but undefeated playoffs as well. So for Used Bow, that's what's on the line here.
Yeah, they've already got they've got their division clinched. They've got #1 seed throughout the whole playoffs locked in as well, if they can make that kind of run. So this is a point of pride for them at this point.
Yeah.
They've had a great regular season so far. Yeah.
You never show up to one of these like not really trying to win. Like, even though everything's clinched and everything, like you're gonna play your best game.
Oh, and that's the thing, we talk about, the joke of like a sport thing with like resting players, but here's the thing, all the people today, they've hit their game totals for the season. They're required to hit 5 races throughout the regular season to count. All 4 of these guys have done so at this point. So this is, it was whoever was available for a race, and you're just hoping to kind of get those wins. And as we said, the Pugs are playing for something here. If they win today and TM32 loses, they're into the playoffs as the 7 seed. If they win and TM32 wins, then TM32 gets the 7 seed and Pugs are sitting out. And if they both lose, TM32 is into playoffs as the 8 seed.
Yep, and this is the final playoff spot. The other 15 have already been determined, so this is the last one for everyone.
Yep, so invitational playoffs will not be beginning until April 17th. So there will be a little bit of a break as we have to figure out some stuff and matchups start to decide who's playing what games. We do see a glove there in Cackwell on Andy's side, or we also saw it on Telethar's. Looks like we also got a lamp early.
It's not a bad item to see in Enemizer in particular.
No. Enemizer is scary. This is, of course, not the normal VT branch you've seen in past seasons or the regular branch that we work with. This is the Logical Enemizer. So there's some big differences. Kill rooms can have a lot more variety in them, which can be pretty dangerous. That means stuff like mimics, deadrocks, enemies that have very specific kill requirements can show up pretty much anywhere. So you could need Quake or Powder to finish a seed. Also, there is only basic logic inside the dungeon, so actually Lamp is required for dark rooms. So some fun stuff there.
Yes. Yeah. It's it's one of those things that's good to know. I mean, since the lamp showed up so early, it's not really going to play a factor in this match because they've got the lamp to have access to all the dark rooms now.
Yep. We did get that back of escape on Andy's side. Piece of heart, and the small key is interesting. I understand Andy not going for it at this point. There's a good chance we're not able to kill it. Mike's going to take a shot here. So we'll see if he's got the equipment for this.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I think.
How does a bomb slug?
Yeah. It's a little, as you can see, it's a little difficult in the even with the lamp. Like you can't really see it, and the slug likes to move. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Mike taking that death there. Andy's going to approach it from the front. He says, I don't want to deal with kill rooms, but I should be able to get there. Hopefully this rat passage is not terrible.
Yeah.
Or the snake passage. This is always a very dangerous room with like 6 to 8 enemies. There's a lot of there's just guards, and he's able to sneak.
Yeah. They didn't really react to him, so...
Andy gets to Dark Cross for $20, so not important. He's going to also take a shot at the front of escape now. We'll see how far he can get with the current equipment. We do know the small key puts the whole front in logic from a keys perspective. The question is it in logic from an enemy perspective?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Daaanty into Agina, and we get just a little bit more money. So no great weaponry so far. We do get the shovel on Telethar's side inside of Spec Rock.
Yeah, still yet to see a weapon besides bombs that we can use. Which is...
Although I will say, Andy having that boomerang does have some nice value here. Makes it a lot easier to kind of contain enemies as you're trying to do these kills with... Like, those little Armo statues are always a little annoying given the chase. So being able to kind of keep them in place is really helpful.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Mike had a little saw an issue happening with the crab party that was going down in Mini Moldorm Cave, and just save and quit out of it. He'll come back when he got better equipment, perhaps.
How many games does Usebo need to lose to get relegated? Humbug. I think what we need to see is like some evidence to steal every one of their wins this season. I don't know what to tell you. Telethar into Eastern Palace, so I think could we have dealt with Mini Moldorm Cave enemies? Like, that's the big question I've got.
You can beat it's 3 crabs and then one of those flying
jerks.
Guys? Yeah. And you can kill the crabs with the bombs and then hope that the flying guy goes off screen so the door opens. I guess they're pretty hard to kill with bombs because they fly around.
Yeah, maybe you could force it off screen.
Yeah, if they do go off screen, it does count like as an enemy not on the screen, and if that's the only enemy left and it goes off screen, the room decides that the conditions have been met for opening the door. So
yeah,
I think having that boomerang would be a big help in getting those crabs to stop moving and take their bombs.
Yeah. Agreed.
No.
And it looks like Andy's going to give this a go, so...
Yeah, and he has a boomerang and plenty of bombs to do this. Oh. Yeah, he even got a bomb hit on the flying guy in there, although it... Okay, nice.
I was going to say, you know, that is just a great job done to get through that.
Yep.
We get the hammer, we get a quake medallion, we get some arrows, and we get some bombs. But we have Dark World access now on the Pug side.
Yeah. And that, even though it's just bombs to kill it, that is, you know, the game says you can do it. The game says you can do it, so...
And that's the thing, like, you know, there's tools that we don't think about picking up necessarily because you're like, I don't need a boomerang. Like, who cares about a boomerang? But, like, you see the value that Andy was able to get out of having that in Mini Moldorm Cave just on those crabs alone. Like, you need to know your tool usage and how to really maximize that effort.
Yeah, and I think this is, like, one of my favorite things about the Enemizer mode is... that it really, like, you really need to know a lot about the game and how to deal with all these different situations that are going to come up, because we're so used to every room being the same every playthrough, you know, most of the modes, and we know how to handle them. But in this mode, it's going to be different every time, and you're going to have to adjust to the enemies that have been placed in the room.
To say telethar gonna have to be careful here as well, but that bomber bird does get off screen, so able to deal with it. Andy's gonna take a little bit of a risk here. He's gonna go for fake flipper. In Logical Enemizer, this is extra scary. I don't know if you've paid attention to this, Maddie, but enemies don't pay attention to water levels.
They do not respect water.
Yeah, they do not respect water boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, one of the old things with VT Enemizer was like, hey, you know, you go and do like, guards can't transition between deep water and shallow water. Now they can, and they will chase you, and they are jerks.
Yeah.
So, a very scary change. And you having to be careful here in Zora's domain. We got some mimics that fire bar. So gonna just be a little extra careful here, but able to sneak by. Gonna get to Zora.
Yeah. Have to be a little careful with the dash because you don't have a sword, and so if you hit an enemy, there it's all over. Zora doesn't have anything, but good.
In terms of the question of like who to root for in this race, my general policy is like, I just want a good race. Like, I think that's a good way to put it, is just like, you want to see a good, close race.
Yeah.
That's fun. And so, root for people to make the checks, not forget stuff, not skip stuff that hurts. You know, you want to see just 4 runners playing their game, and that's all I would want out of this. Yo, nice kill from Mike there.
Yeah, that crab just walked right into that bomb for him. There we go, yeah.
Good job from Mike on that second try with that Mini Moldorm Cave. I do wish he had gotten the red rang to make his life a little bit easier, but, you know, he made do.
He got it done, so. And with a hammer, he has a real weapon now. So they all do, so that's good for them.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, a sword would give us the ability to kill dead rocks with Quake Medallion. The only enemies that we can't take care of are Igors and Mimics.
Yeah.
And at least Mimics, we can Mimic clip them.
Sometimes. There's some rooms where they can't be Mimic clipped, right?
Yes, there are a few.
Sure Yeah, I'm not sure which ones those are, but I knew that. I don't have an exhaustive list of them, but I know that they exist.
Yeah, the big one, of course, is that back of pod room where you're trying to get to the statue room.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, those are mitts on Dig Game for Daaanty.
Yeah, well, that's a convenient spot because now you can just walk up into Voo.
Yeah, I know yesterday we actually got to see an interesting application of Potion Camera Unlock. I wasn't sure if you saw that one, Maddie.
I did not, no.
We had Aga's Backup Dancers versus Tile Roomies yesterday, and Breadcoon took a... had an Igor in right side, bow locked side pod. Lured the Igor to the left side of the screen, went back and did the Potion Camera Unlock trick, and then had just camera unlocked the Mimic out of existence, or the Igor out of existence. So
Wow.
A neat application of some of the tech that we use normally on an enemy you can't Mimic clip.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. That's, it's one of those really cool things that you can do in this mode. You can show off a little game knowledge there,
And that's the fun thing, is like just getting to see people kind of think these things on the fly. I said to Brad last night, I was like, dang, dude, that was really cool to think of. And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, this should work.
Yeah, just like I don't I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to do this again, but I got my chance.
Andy gonna check out who our boss is here. Unfortunately, does get Murder Dactyl there. Big thing always to remember with sprites in this mode is the light worlds. It's a light world variant is of course the crow, but if you see it in Dark World, it does have the properties of the Murder Dactyl, and they hurt. Other enemies to think about like that are of course the rats and the snakes and the crickets. We see that usually as a cross keys thing, but it does hold true as well for Enemizer. Meanwhile, StructuralMike has gone over to the catfish. That's always an out-of-the-way check. Let's see what he's able to get. Just a heart container, that's nice to have. Like, I will not turn my nose up at health this early.
No. It's not
Enemizer.
Yeah. It's not something that Telethar is going to hear about and go get, but it is nice to have it. So like, you're like, oh, it's a good thing I did the catfish check. Now I get this heart. That's
Yeah, we also get the hook shot there off of in Pot Prison of Skull Woods. And if I'm not mistaken, did we see a cold stare here in Skull?
I missed our check of the boss here.
Cold Stare, honestly, not a terrible fight in Skull Woods. You can really get a lot of value in that fight.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of that shell, you can actually spin Cold Stare into those spikes and deal massive damage. So it really reduces some of the risk of the fight. It's still not easy because the arena is so small for a boss, but you can really work through a lot of that fight. Oh, was it Armos? Yes, Clear Mouse, we've been there.
Yeah, there's a few boss arenas with spikes, and any of them can help give you an advantage against Cold Stare. If you can, Skullwood's the only one where it's just surrounded in that tiny space, and basically if you hit Cold Stare, he's probably going to get knocked into a spike, and that's really going to speed things up, especially if you go in there with really low levels of equipment. Yeah.
So Daaanty also getting his hook shot, so a little bit of an early advantage here for the Pugs. Some of those checks over on used bow side not working out yet, not terribly a problem, just one of those like you hope we find something. Like we're seeing the back of Thieves Town here from Telethar. This is definitely like a bit riskier of a check. If it works out, you feel really good, but so far nothing. What we can say though is Telethar found something more important out about this Thieves. You have to do the back. This is a vanilla blind, and one of the cool things about this branch of the Enemizer is to kill a vanilla blind in Thieves Town, you actually still have to rescue blind. VT Enemizer, you were able to not have to do so, but here it is a requirement.
Yeah, it's this reduces the because one thing that people tend to skip would be the back of thieves in Enemizer, because it's usually not required to beat the boss. But in this case, you don't have a choice, so no one's skipping.
And Telethar's not killing blind, knows that it is just gonna be what, the map or the compass, so no reason to actually go for the kill, just saying goodbye, and I'd rather not waste my time with a boss fight here.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you would need to do that is if pedestal is required, and pedestal is so rarely required that if you need to do it, you go back and kill him, and it doesn't take too long to get back to blind. So he did set it up so that if he does need to kill blind, it'll be quick. Walked him back, but good choice to just decide not to do it right now.
Gonna get to see the hover on Daaanty's side as well for that shovel. He's gonna save and quit. He's on such low health, not really much value here. And you're thinking, oh, he could have just dropped and picked up a fairy. Maddie, what's the problem with anticipating there's a fairy there?
The fairies are included in the enemies pack that we can mix. And I did that in one of my early practices where I need a fairy. And I went over there, and there was just like a couple Lionels like, oh no, get away from this. This is hazardous to my health. This is not going to help at all.
So yeah, some fun stuff with this mode. If you're hoping for safeties, a lot of those safeties are gone. Of course, the magic under the pots is still around, but stuff like anti-fairies or bunny beams even that you would hope to be able to take advantage of, you don't have that ability necessarily here. So it's, there's some work to be done. There is a bow for Daaanty, though, on Paradox 2.
On the other hand, sometimes if you have the powder, those bunny beams will show up in very convenient spots when you're low on health in random places in dungeons.
We've got a full medallion kit now, though, on Daaanty's side as Ether shows up in Para 5. We get another heart piece, and there's our flippers. So we're finding most of the good equipment. What we do need, of course, is a sword.
Yes.
No swords yet. We will also need that fire rod for sure to take down Skull Woods, and a mirror for Swamp Palace. So there's at least a few things we need to finish the seed. And as always, the big question is, will we need Ice Rod? That is a sword, though, on top of Floating Island.
Yeah, you can see it, but you can't get it yet. That's unfortunate.
I mean, we've still got at least a bunch of checks. There's a good chance, we'll get that. Another heart container there on Ether Tablet. Probably not going to go back for it at this point. We are starting to pick up decent-ish equipment. Health-wise, we're starting to get, into that 7-8 heart territory. Not going to turn our nose up if we can get up to 10. And we also have blue mail.
Yes, yeah, I think everyone picked up the blue mail. It was in Bonk Rocks, I think. It was very easy to get, so. Yeah,
no reason to skip out on that. What we can also say is we've got actually a decent Hera lobby. Easy enough to Hera pot still.
Yeah. There can be...
that's always a big question.
Yeah, there can occasionally be enemies that really make the Hera pot either extremely difficult or impossible to pull off.
And that's actually true. One of the other tricks, and there's our other bow, so that both bows on Death Mountain.
Okay.
Telethar giving us Spike Cave today, and just some bombs. So Pugs routing has just worked out a little bit better as Andy finds Mothula at Desert Palace. Good, strong kill there. Much easier, of course, without his arena.
Yes. That's our first dungeon clear.
And unfortunately, Daaanty does find a cold stare here in Hera, no Bombos, no, or we have Bombos but no sword and no fire rod, so we cannot take care of it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, StructuralMike is heading towards Hyrule Castle. We did see the rest of these checks on Andy's side, so gonna draw a little bit blank. Telethar is gonna be finding the new stuff for use bow here. Nice magic refill there for Daaanty on Spiral Cave.
Still not very fun without a sword to go through
No.
Spiral Cave, even with
Never.
different enemies, but still pain.
And of course, we lack the sword to open up Turtle Rock or the cane to even do anything inside. Not to mention, Turtle Rock is a pendant.
Turtle Rock's a pendant, and so is Meyer. So all those medallions and the cane
could be worthless.
Might not be required at all.
Yeah.
Of course, the cane could come into play in GT when it comes to get the time to get the big key, but
yeah,
again, that's just a few of the items locked behind the cane in there.
I was gonna say Daaanty playing a little bit safe here. That roller could have killed him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Andy is also having some fun there on all the traps on right side Death Mountain. What we have a couple of chomps, a crystal or a roller, and a Beamos. Yeah, not fun. Mike's setting up the Death Warp here on the little Armo statue. Where's a sword? Seriously.
Yeah, where is the sword? It's we've checked quite a bit.
Like, our runners have done a great job dividing up everything, and it's just like,
yeah,
sword? Hello?
We've seen on Mike's side, we saw Pod, and that didn't appear to have anything.
Oh, Daaanty has a sword now, right. I just missed the sword happening, yeah.
And Andy will need to get the mitts in order to get that. He has not actually picked them up, and so went up to the mountain, didn't have the mitts, and doesn't have the sword.
Interesting. And he's not even going to worry about it right now. He's just saying, you know what, let me try to get as much as I can done, and I'll go deal with Pod here. You know, he's going to let Daaanty kind of take care of some of the other options for the moment.
Yeah, he does. You don't need the mitts to do Pod, so, you know. And with the bow, if it's a boss that we can beat, Andy can go ahead and complete it. I don't know if Mike actually even saw the compass in there. Be careful of that chain chomp.
Yeah, this is the hardest part, is, you know, just being able to kind of recognize things as soon as they're possibility there. And Andy has been heads up about it, and, you know, hope that continues here for him. In terms of, I see how Andy's route evolved into that. You know, he went Vu into Skull Woods, wasn't going to go back down to Dig Game, even as Daaanty tells him, hey, there's the mitts here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to route out a little bit tough there, but, you know, I guess hoping for something to work out in terms of other checks.
Yeah, that unkillable thief there is a little bit of a pain when you're trying to do these hammer dashes to get the hammer pegs.
And actually, the interesting thing here is for both members of Used Bow, their isolated check now is actually Dig Game. I hadn't realized it, but Telethar is Mitzless, as well as Mike. Mike took the route up to Catfish, which didn't pay out, as Telethar went into Skull Woods and got Hook and decided to take that as his big, reward.
Yeah.
Daaanty, our only runner so far with the Mitts knowledge, or with the Mitts. And he has knowledge unless somehow there's been a lack of talking.
There's there's a second sword.
Yeah.
Also behind the mitts.
Yes.
And the entire smith chain, so.
Yeah, and it looks like Telethar is going to head for Desert. Understandable play, honestly. From the looks of it, you've got some options here.
Yeah, this is just picked up that book. It was in Saw's closet.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Mike had done at least some of Desert and just couldn't do all of it. So this is Telethar cleaning up. Makes a lot of sense, as Daanty's going to clean up some of the other Dark World checks that Andy hasn't been able to get to yet. So Andy's starting to jump out on the dungeon lead for Pugs, whereas Daaanty has the item advantage. So they're kind of taking separate approaches here.
Yeah, it'd be really great to have the mirror at least before you start getting into doing the smith chain for that one sword.
Yeah, just a bit. I will say at this point, like, we know Hera does not have an item. Daaanty got both items out of Hera, the silvers, and I believe it was the single arrow. So those were both on that upper lobby. So he's cleared out the items. Not a huge pull to take care of it right now. But with the flippers and the Bombos medallion, like, Ice Palace is starting to turn into a thought.
Yes, yeah. Looks like we got Mothula in Desert, and that does have the second item here, so we can see Telethar go take care of that short order.
Yeah, we saw that kill on Andy's side, so.
Oh yes, that's Desert, not Eastern, that Andy has completed. Okay.
Yep.
I read that wrong.
It's great to see everybody's own trackers and try to interpret.
Yeah, it's a little small text on some of these, but we'll make it through it. I have old man eyes. I can't see as well as I used
I mean, Maddie, you know me and eyes, so.
Yeah, I know. I can't complain about eyes about you. It's awesome. It's very hard to keep track of 4 people at the same time.
Yes. Let's see. Where are you off to, Daaanty? You're kind of our new knowledge person here. Like, we're going to get to see the boss fight on Andy's side.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, but that's the flute on,
the flute,
Hylia. Ooh.
Okay, so we get the mirror and we get the flute immediately. Or at least it's available immediately once we get the mirror. Because Meyer is not required, it's, it might not be required that we get flute, but...
Oh, I feel bad for the Pokey here. Like, I don't usually feel bad for enemies, but, like, I've made it... Oh my gosh! The Pokies are just getting caught.
They get stuck.
Yeah.
They really don't know how to deal with, sometimes runners have difficulty with, enemies in unfamiliar rooms, but the enemies sometimes have difficulties in unfamiliar rooms as well. Like, they're not immune.
I've joked that, like, I always feel bad for Moldorm and Skull. Like, I hate Moldorm as a boss, but every time I see him just stuck on this, like, horizontal path, I feel bad for him.
He can't even move, yeah.
Right.
it's already like a spike-filled pit. It's a bad place to be, no matter who you are. But yeah, moldorm just can't even move. So you just have to kind of put it out of its misery.
And he's searching around for the enemies here in that dark room of pod. It's always like, this is where knowledge really does help a lot, is, you know, where are the vanilla enemy locations and who moved?
Yeah.
Who's a skull or who's like a Stalfos Knight? Who's a jelly under the under me? Like, I need to know that kind of information. And our boss in pod is also a cold stare, and unfortunately Andy's swordless. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So 2 cold stares that we'll have to come back to.
Yeah, as we said at the top of this race, what we've got here today is the final race of the season for both these two teams, or the final race of the regular season. USBO has clinched their division. They've got the best record in the league this season. They are 13-0 entering their final game. So a win here would give them an undefeated regular season. Meanwhile, the Pugs are playing for their season. They need to win this game against USBO and then also have TM32 lose their race starting in the next 20 minutes. So a lot on the line here for the Pugs. A couple of interesting races in the Invitational League. I will say that race between TM32 and I believe 3 Off the Tee will be going off, is going to get a restream. I think it's on SG3. Yeah, or no, sorry, Speed Gaming, SG1. Yeah. I will say, while Andy did lose time for that unfortunate pod happening, what we can say is Mike was also in there without the ability to beat pod, so they both explored that dungeon without the ability to handle it.
Yeah, it ended up even in terms of time spent in dungeon and having to come back.
And yeah, right now, Pugs are still up a sword. Mike, of course, got those mitts, and his is kind of working through stuff. Telethar is also working his way back into this. You know, he wants to get a sword. So both Andy and Telethar are playing a little bit of catch up. They're both on a crystal. So really the advantage here is probably Daaanty. Like, the question mark is right now Daaanty versus Mike as the other side of this.
Yeah, the one thing that Pugs have up on USBO is that sword on purple chest. If Telethar is doing hammer pigs, maybe he'll be doing the rest of Smith Chain and eventually get that as well.
Hookshot showing a lot of value here. Always one of the better weapons to have at the ready almost at all times in Enemizer. Andy just grabbing purple chest. So just a little bit behind Telethar here as Daaanty pulls a mirror in Freezor chest. So next play probably going to be go to ice if I'm Andy.
Yeah. And Daaanty can go to Swamp Palace after he finishes this ice. If he can. If this is a Trinex, he cannot finish Ice Palace.
I mean, that would just be poetic justice here, is always like, where's the Trinex?
Yeah. Like, this is this is Argus. So this is a go mode question mark?
No, we are definitely lacking the fire rod.
No, sorry, we need the fire rod. Yeah.
Yes. That is the one item we cannot finish this seed without. still. Ice Rod is a question mark, but yeah, it's Fire Rod and potentially Cane of Samaria. Or an Ice Rod. So that like we are at least 1, possibly 2 or 3.
Right.
But meanwhile, Daaanty has taken down Argus in Ice Palace for his first crystal. Meanwhile, Mike is about to head into to get that mirror. Unfortunately, Telethar is still doing the Pengator room here. I don't think there was any purpose to it, but Mike just a little not far enough ahead to let Telethar know it's not important.
Yeah, he needed to get that. Needed to get that big key just in case. It was something. And
both Telethar and Andy getting a little bit bullied here in this right side room. This room is always bad.
That room is because it isn't a kill room. You just need to get that switch and then get out. So you don't really want to wait. You don't want to spend too much time killing the enemies, but sometimes they don't really give you a choice. They'll bully you.
Yeah, this Ice Palace has been rough for Telethar, and so he's having to take it a little bit safer, burning a potion. Andy giving us, of course, a hover of that Ice Palace bomb jump gap. So just that extra little bit of knowledge from Daaanty being able to say, hey, don't worry about it. You don't need to get your big key, like just go to Freezord, we're good. So able to save just that little bit of time. And of course, the Mire snakes are absolutely the worst.
Yes.
We did see Bombo's tablet from Daaanty, nothing there. We're getting the Argus fight here from Mike on Fighter Sword. We're going to see it from Andy shortly. Really, Daaanty just had the best equipment for this Ice Palace, finishing up with Master Sword and Silvers. Really made short work of Argus as a result. Actually, I kind of thought about that. That heart container off of the big chest, not a bad pickup for Telethar. So, worked out.
Yeah. I'll take it. If you're gonna have to do Pengator room anyway, at least get something out of that big chest that you worked.
On the plus side, free silvers, free temper tonight. Like this is probably best case for some of your equipment.
Oh, that's right. Yes, there is a sword on Floating Island.
Yeah, and I mean Andy's already gotten the worst of the swords in terms of purple chests. So
yeah,
the 2 Death Mountain swords now are very easy for him. Those silver arrows in Hera are like, I don't see a world you don't pick them up.
They're pretty close to just on the way. Like I would say that's worth the time that's spent getting them.
But we got Argus kills from both Andy and Telethar, so gonna ties them up again at 2 crystals apiece. Mike currently at 1 crystal as well as Daaanty, so even on the dungeon clears, Telethar gonna head back up Death Mountain, it looks like. And we actually did get an Ice Rod in Swamp Palace on Daaanty's side, so our big piece of equipment we need is Fire Rod.
Yeah, that's it's nice. It's nice to see that. Oh, thanks, statue.
I think if we push, can we push the statue the other way?
I think, yeah, you can. Yeah, I think you could do that. Or you could pull it further up into.
No, because he had to sneak by it. He couldn't get past the statue.
Yeah, pushing the statue's boring though. We'll just go around.
Yeah, we'll go around and we're going to get to see the diver down room here, the vanilla way.
Yeah.
And there's our fire rod.
There's the other rod, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could have pushed that to the left, actually. Given that vanilla, or the original position of it, you could have pushed it to the left. So now it's just a question of, do we need Cane of Samaria for GT?
Yeah, I mean, how much are you doing on the way here to...
I think you're doing the checks that are in your way, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, plain and simple. Like, we're just going to play to see if, like, that becomes a need. But if I'm in these guys' shoes, like, I'm rushing. I'm trying to beat everything I can and just get there. I think for Pugs, you know, there's probably a little bit of a push to play a little bit riskier as well, to say, I don't know, but we need the game, and we know how good our opponents are, so let's not give them, you know, we can't give up time.
Yeah. I think that there's... I mean, based on, like, the crystal dungeons they're going to go into, I don't think there's a lot we haven't seen anyway in those crystal dungeons. I don't think anyone's actually been in the Eastern at all.
No, we saw a bit of Eastern.
Did we? Okay.
I want to say. Yeah, Telethar's tracker shows he's gotten all the items out.
Oh yeah,
of Eastern.
he has gotten it. Okay.
I don't know, GFE. Do I have any experience doing a seed without Cane recently? But real heads up play from Mike there. Honestly, that's even better, is he's actually able to block the Southpost Knight. Like, dang, dude.
That's, you know, that's the statue isn't an obstacle. It's a help.
Yeah. So really smart play from Mike there, getting to block out the Stalfos Knight in order to not even have to do anything. But Mike does get his fire rod and says, I am done. I am going. We are not looking for Cane in the waterfall chest.
Yeah, we're not even doing waterfall chest. So
yeah. Like, there's just not even a thought from StructuralMike here saying, no, we're fine.
Yeah,
we're in go. And given that Mike has that information for Telethar, Telethar's following. So Daaanty just a bit ahead of Mike here. Daaanty not going to go get that flute. But Telethar has a dungeon lead on Andy by 1, just a Hera. So not a huge deal, but does have the 2 sword advantage as he's playing behind in Swamp. So we'll see how much of a difference that makes as we start running into some of our late game or our last few crystals. Yeah, and Andy's going to get those 2 swords. He's just not going to get them until he goes back up the mountain. He's in go as far as this situation. It is now just, you know, I have to play on fighter sword for a bit. That won't make a big difference here. Realistically, the fighter sword on Helma doesn't matter. He can set up spin speed and just go with hammer strats. That's an easy fight for him. And there's our there's our mirror shield for Daaanty off of the Moth and Desert for his 3rd crystal. So Eastern, Pod, Hera, and Skull are what he has left. Mike does pick up the flute, though.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of time to get that flute, but because everyone still needs to do Skull Woods, you do need to run over there to Kakariko anyway, so it's not too much time to turn in this flute, and then we need to fly over to Pod. We can fly back to the mountain to go to GT after we're done. So yeah, a little bit of a difference though. Like one side says no to the flute, the other says yeah, we want the flute.
Yeah, I mean, Andy has his flute, so the bigger spot it's going to make a difference. The one spot it's going to make the big difference for Daaanty versus Mike here is, while Mike had to activate that flute, and that's going to take a little bit of time, Daaanty will have to make that run over to Pegs 5. To your question, Clear Mouse, yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought we would have seen Waterfall Chest from Mike in Swamp. We'll see if Telethar checks it, because they played a little bit riskier with not even looking for Keen. And yeah, Telethar's not checking it either. We know it's not Keen, so it's not a big problem, but I thought we would have seen the check just in case GT Big Key's right side. So I am a little bit surprised. Andy knew. Daaanty had checked the waterfall, so like he was able to give him that info. Okay, this lag is actually happening on Daanty's screen, right? Like,
yeah. There's I don't know what is going on with this lag, but
Daaanty giving us the Armos fight. He's got silvers. This is
yeah.
This is an easy fight for him. Quick, painless, done. Andy back in the pod for his rematch with Cold Stare. Mike, meanwhile, is still unfortunately on just regular bow. So going to be a little bit longer of a fight. And this fight can get a little bit annoying. We'll see if any of these Armos Knights do decide to do that.
Yeah, I'll say.
They love to off-screen themselves a little bit. It does not count as a kill. They just magically will appear back on the screen.
They will just kind of warp back in. Yeah, they don't do well in this arena, but they manage.
Daaanty is on his way, though, over to the pod, so he's still holding a little bit of a lead over StructuralMike here, even with the flute. The bigger deal, of course, is Daaanty is up a sword as well as silvers, so that sword advantage will make a bit of a difference here against Cold. Good Cold fight from Andy. As we said, those spikes at the top of the screen do help benefit you here. I think, though, I don't think Daanty's actually been to pod, has he?
I think this is his first time.
Yeah, this is his first trip into Palace of Darkness, so going to be
okay. So
and Mike found the cane.
Yeah, we skipped Waterfall, but then we went over to check Myrshek because we haven't done Desert yet.
Yeah, so good find for StructuralMike. Telethar and Andy are without a flute.
Yeah, now the question would be, if you're Telethar, do you go get the flute and the cane, or do you just continue to say, well, if we need the cane, I'll just have to run back. I get it, I guess.
Yeah, and I see how Mike routed this. He had to hit Desert, so he, this makes a lot of sense for him. Just a little unfortunate from a, you take that gamble, and I see why each of them did the plays they did. Yeah, I don't know. I probably you know, I'm probably thinking you just kind of go with this. Like, if I'm Telethar and Daaanty, like, Danty's not going to find out. Let's be real.
I have a hard time seeing him go over to Mire Shed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, both teams have that flute, but I don't expect Andy to check the Mire Shed. He has the desert boss already killed, so his incentive to ever go to the Mire area is even less than Use Bow's was. At least Mike had a reason to end up in the desert area, or Mire area. No, Telethar does not have the flute. Looking at his tracker, and Telethar is very good about having his stuff tracked completely. Like, we can say he does not have flute. He's aware of it. I just don't think he's going to go down to Pegs 5 or start at Link's house and go get it for the cane at this point. Like, I think a reasonable approach would be to say, like, hey, Mike, do a DM route in GT and find out, but I'm going to play as if we're fine. Like, I think that's a very reasonable statement.
Yeah, it's just 5 checks that are blocked by the cane in GT. So, mathematically, you're in pretty good shape. If you, don't have to worry about if you are thinking you can avoid getting that cane.
And this is the philosophy thing. Like, for Pugs, there's no reason for them to concern themselves with it. For Use Bow, like, you know, do you want to play a little bit riskier with it? Do you care? You know, how much do you value the idea of the undefeated season here, or the undefeated regular season? Like, it's time to invest in it if you're Telethar. And we're saying, you know, a couple of minutes of time. Like, it's not nothing for him to go get it.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance it's just a waste of time. So it's
we had 3 cold stare fights pretty much back to back to back here for our runners. Daaanty and Telethar through their fights, Mike entering into his. Good use of the spikes from Daaanty and Mike so far. Telethar, of course, having that tempered sword, making that fight even more trivial for him.
Yeah, they each actually have a different sword. We had Daaanty with the Master Sword, Telethar with the Tempered Sword, and then Mike here with the Fighter Sword.
Yeah, this is a very laggy skull. Jeez, lots of enemies just messing with it.
Yeah.
Like, Andy's is lagging. I guess I hadn't looked on Mike's side for how bad it was. But
Mike's lagged too, so this is just the seed.
Yep. Daaanty working through his Eastern node for crystal number 6. He'll be up to Hera for his 7th crystal, as Andy is also working through his crystal 6. So, of course, the fun part about Skull Woods is that the spikes cause the Burna strats to be even a little bit harder to pull off. So,
yeah, there
But good kill there for Andy. So 6 crystals for Andy, 5 crystals for Daaanty. Telethar working on crystal 6 as well. Gonna have just Skull Woods left. Mike in his 6th crystal. So Andy will be picking up 2 swords on his way to GT and the like. So starting to make some progress there. He'll get up to his tempered sword. Daaanty, of course, will get his floating island sword as well.
Yep, just Skullwood's left for Telethar now.
Master Sword for Andy. He will not skip Tempered. There's just no reason to do so. Daaanty also on the mountain for his 7th crystal. So they both have Hera. Unfortunately, these red hard hat beetles on Mike's side are always a pain. They are just damaged sponges.
Yeah, they just take a lot of hits. Right? Yeah, Bombos in this room for Mike is makes a lot of sense. Just don't want to deal with this. They'll die. It's great.
Yeah, and if we were gonna see Telethar go get Red Cane, he would have had already picked up his flute. The fact that he is in Skull Woods without the flute tells me he is willing to risk that we do not need Cane here. I think it's a worthwhile play on his end. You know, you're just gonna hope.
Yeah. If you do need the cane, well, that sucks. But I completely get why we wouldn't do it here. Yeah.
Yep. Andy did get his big key here in Tower of Hera, so he is looking at getting those silvers. Don't blame him. Very quick and free check to pick those up, so worth the time investment here. Daaanty gets his 3rd sword, so Pugs are going to be pretty much right on top of each other, and because there's really no way to do a deviating route here, anticipate seeing Hope and then full left from both of them. Yeah, and I will say, like, the advantage here is definitely Pugs. Like, there's Crystal 7 for Telethar. So he is not far behind. But, like, Mike is down 2 swords right now. And so it's gonna be some work. But Enemizer GT is... It does bad things, okay? Look, I had a race this week where it looked like we were gonna win, and Enemizer GT really hecked up my teammate. So, like, you know, it is the mode.
It happens to the best of us, even. So
yeah. So I will not say that it's gonna go well or poorly for anybody. Like, this is just, it's GT, it's Enemizer. Have fun. Luckily, we've got all the equipment to kill any enemy. So even if we see deadrocks or mimics or Igors, like, they're all killable. Meanwhile, Andy, first runner into Ganon's tower, gonna check Hope Room. Let's see what we find. That is a small key. That is a compass. Yeah, and that's the thing. If Red Cane is required here, this is, like, even if Pugs get it quick, like even if Andy goes immediately to Mire area, the fact that Mike is going to be able to do GT first trip is just massive. It'll give him a minute's advantage in clear time, and what that does for an average finish is just ridiculous to have to deal with.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of small keys here on DM Room and Hope, so good sign for a potential right side big key. Or left side big key, I mean.
Yep, here is telethar going to be going left. He also does not have the cane, so...
yeah, he's going to leave the right side checks to Mike here.
Yeah.
He's just going to rush it.
Yeah, and another thing that will benefit the Pugs if they don't need the cane is that if it's on the right side, Mike might spend some time over there on the right side, not going to where the key is. So...
Well, and the first things first from Mike is to get his sword.
Yeah.
He's been on fighter sword for quite a while here, so... but so no keys on left side yet. We've got Rando Room, Bob's Chest, and Ice Armos as our last checks here for the Pugs. So if you're rooting for Pugs, you're hoping to see a big key show up very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
There's the big key in Rando Room. Pugs are in go mode officially.
Yep, and telethar will be finding that very soon here and be right on their tail, and Mike will be just a little bit behind, but he will know where it is. I don't think he's going to get too far in here.
The problem here, the biggest problem here is Mike's equipment. Mike is down a sword. Yeah, he is on a
purple chest one. That's what it
he
was, yeah.
He didn't get purple chest sword, which, you know, understandable. It's gonna hurt. Makes that Ganon fight a lot harder. I mean, when you get down to Rando Room and Ice Armos as your possible big key locations in Enemizer, it's kind of scary.
You don't like that.
Because what you're also looking at potentially there is having to deal with an Ice Trinex, and we're on Tempered Sword at least, so it's a little better, but it's still not a fun fight.
It's difficult, and it's you don't really get to practice it very much, and yeah, anytime you can just not do it, that's great. Don't want to do it.
Now, as we said at the top, if you've missed the bulk of this race and are curious what's on, what are the stakes on this one? So, as it stands right now, Pugs are ahead. Still need to close this one out to get the win. If Pugs hold on for the win today, the race that is just kicked off over on Speed Gaming is then going to be the deciding factor of whether or not Pugs make the playoffs. Over on Speed Gaming is a race between TM32 God Route and 3 Off the Tee. If TM32 God Route loses that race as well as the Pugs winning this race, then Pugs will get a spot in the Invitational playoffs. If, on the other hand, if the Pugs lose this race, then it doesn't matter, as TM32 would get the spot. Or if TM32 wins, then Pugs does not make the playoffs. So that's all the situations here. As always, this Trinex arena is one of the worst.
I was gonna say, if we just talk about how much the added
imagine one Medusa head. One Medusa head does all this annoyance.
It really throws you off when you're trying to especially trying to do this quickly as you always are. You have to keep moving and get out of the way of it. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous set of things. And yeah,
Daaanty.
Yeah, Daaanty
had
a
another
little
heart
close
when
there.
he fell. Yeah. Mike playing around with all these ghosts. With the Master Sword, they take a few hits to kill.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that that skull, that floating skull, is another one of those enemies that just has what feels like infinite health.
Yeah, and
great berry drop though to help Mike.
Yeah,
and I think the hard part for Mike is like I don't know what his bottle situation is. Like I can't see it. It looks like he has at least a potion, but he's got a Trinex fight on Master Sword coming.
Yeah, I think he's got a blue and a green, so I think he should be good.
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy for me on the preview or on the window we're watching for. Might be a little bit easier for those of you watching specifically on SG2.
Yeah, I see like 3 pixels of green and blue.
It looks like we're going to get another hover over on the Pugs side. Daaanty also hovering, so no Vidi fights for Pugs. Good job keeping ahead of the Vidi eyes. And Daaanty is just going to burn a dash up. Andy working through his Aga 2 fight. And down goes Aga 2. So advantage Pugs right now for sure.
Yeah, and they have the best equipment you could really hope for the Ganon fight with Tempered Sword and Silver arrows.
Yep.
I mean, I guess Gold Sword, but I don't anticipate that would change how quickly this fight is going to go.
No. I mean, we all miss a 1-1 every so often, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. That is Aga 2 down for Daaanty as well. So both members of Pugs into Ganon. Meanwhile, StructuralMike takes down Trinex. So he's got his one of his tough bosses down. Telethar working through the top of GT finds a mushroom. Was hoping maybe, I guess, for a small key to save him having to deal with trying to kill the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Andy is already into phase 3. Daaanty looks like he got his double spin there. He is into phase 2, so yeah. 1 cycle phase 1s, 1 cycle phase 2 for Andy. Daaanty doing a good job here with his phase 2. Meanwhile, Telethar is fighting off with Vidi. Nicely done. But Lincoln, you missed it. Andy has killed Ganon, and he's going to be their first finisher today, as Dante's into phase 3. Get your GGs in chat for Andy, as he finishes with a time of 1:12:01. Meanwhile, Dante's got his silver arrows going. There is his final silver arrow, so get your GGs in chat for Daaanty and the Pugs, who are keeping their playoff dreams alive with a win here today. Daaanty finishing with an official race time of 1:12:32.
Well, yeah, Telthar's about to drop into Ganon. StructuralMike's working his way through torches here. So this will this does mean that race between TM32 and 3FT will determine the final playoff spot.
Yep. We are joined though by Andy and Daaanty of the Pugs. GG's, guys.
GG's. So we'll say this. Andy told me this literally as we finished. I didn't know. I had totally forgot the other team was undefeated until now. So even if we don't make playoffs, we'll take that's a dub.
Yeah, the 72 Dolphins are popping champagne.
Well, you mean the Findrana Drifters, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
from season 3.
I don't know what I was talking about. What are the Dolphins?
That was like
football, huh?
That was 1972 in rando years.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Well, what I will say is we did take a look. While we've had teams have a perfect regular season, we have not had a perfect whole season yet in League either. So. But yeah. Telethar has officially finished as well with a 114-14.
Is this other race getting restreamed too?
Yes, it is over on Speed Gaming.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. the SG2 watch party with Pugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we needed a lot to go our way this week if we weren't gonna 2-0 use bow, which we weren't expecting to 2-0 use bow. You know, Enemizer's rough and we could definitely take one game off them, but they're really good. Sweeping them is gonna be hard no matter what the mode is, right? So we needed a lot to go our way if we were gonna go 1-1 this week. And it's all gone our way so far.
Yeah. The only thing that came up was that Cane of Samaria, which could have been required for GT.
Where's that?
Mireshed.
Perfect.
Oh man. I'm so glad I was more wrong when I told Andy, look, the first thing we need to do when we leave GT is check Pyramid Fairy. And I could not have been more wrong.
Well, I would have checked Mire first because I had the flute.
Yeah.
So we would have been fine. I mean, not fine.
No.
Telethar doesn't have the Smari either, it looks like.
He
on the tracker.
The flute,
so
and by the time that because Mike just did it on the way to desert with the flute, and
that makes sense.
By that time it was Telethar was probably just saying, I've already skipped the flute, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, skipping flute.
It didn't make sense for Daaanty to get it because we were I had to go get mirror from ice, and Daaanty had already done that and went to swamp, and then by the time he got fire rod after I'd gotten the flute, so there's just no reason for him to go get that basically.
Yeah, I know you guys are chatting a little bit in the race room. One of the big kind of dividing points was that early decision on with the Dark World. We saw use bow head from hype up to catfish, whereas you guys did hit up dig game. So that gave that early mitts advantage.
Yeah, we when they said that, I told Andy, I was like, in every practice we've streamed, we've basically started Dark World by going to catfish. I don't think they would copy us, but it was I wonder if they did that of their own volition, or if we had any chance of influencing that. But
yeah, no, I hate going up to pyramid and catfish area without a sword because there's so many enemies that just get in your way. So yeah, normally absolutely hype to catfish just to get catfish out of the way, but
there is the Ganon kill for StructuralMike, so get your GGs in chat for Mike and Telethar of used bow.
GGs to Mike and his internet.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was going to say held up great.
Yeah, we didn't have any problems.
I was a little concerned when I saw the massive slowdowns from everybody in Skull Woods, but
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I was
Daaanty thought his
freaking
game
out.
was just broken, and I was like, "No, it's a super tile. You're probably fine." He's like, "Yeah, okay, we're good."
Well, it
and
went
then
past
when
the super
I
tile.
finally, and then when I finally got there, I was like, "Oh damn, you weren't kidding, dude."
It's
Yeah, I
like when
thought
your
maybe-
shadows get messed up.
Yeah, I thought maybe there's something wrong with your stream when you were going through there because we really chugged. And we're supposed to be on fast ROM, so
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, brother.
All right, time to remove fast ROM and go through that room again and watch the the one frame per second.
The slideshow room, yeah.
Somewhere Airy is smiling.
Yep.
Oh man.
Believe the invite should have got to them. I don't know if they're going to join us today. Oh. Yeah, we are now joined by StructuralMike and telethar of used bow. GG's, guys.
GG's.
You did it.
We did it.
Crushed us.
Yep.
We
I
thought
was
we
pretty-
can. Go ahead.
Pretty sure we lost when we found the mitts. You know, it's hard to not be like, yeah, well, I mean, we'll keep playing, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, most of the time, we also do hype to Catfish, but Daaanty decided not to because of the lack of a sword, I think.
Hmm.
And yeah, those swords were just terrible.
What was a journey?
Yeah,
It really was.
Daaanty did it later, and he was like, "Brother, if you got to do this, have fun." And then yeah, I ended up going into Skull, and I was gonna be like, "Oh, Skull will have nothing," and then I'll just go get the mitts afterwards. And then Skull had hook shot, so I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to Mountain." I save and quit before getting the mitts. And then I went to go do King's Tomb, and I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot the mitts." So I ended up like pivoting to Book and Desert. And then Daanty's like, "Oh, all the swords are up here." And I was like, "Cool, okay, yeah, you didn't find anything," or he hadn't done Dark Mountain yet, so I just went and grabbed the bow to go to Pod. And then he's like, "Hey, there's a sword here." And I'm like, "Cool. Hey, there's a cold stay here that I can't kill because I don't have any of these swords." And then he pulled another sword on Purple Chest, and I was like, "Dude, like, I'd either have to go to Dark Death Mountain just to get a sword, or I do Purple Chest and I get 2 swords later." So I decided to do Purple Chests so I could finish with Tempered. I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but it helped for GT.
Did you guys get Flute and Cane? Or did you manage to skip those?
I
things?
got Flute. Daaanty got Fire Rod like right after I picked up the Flute. So we were like, we gotta play for the W here. So we just YOLO'd GT.
We bet on black and GT
Yeah.
and said,
Yeah.
we got to rando room and Andy was like, "All right, I'm entering," and I said, "Scared?" Like I was just, I don't know what's happening now. I was
Yeah, we
right
were-
behind him.
yeah, we did say, Mike said that pretty much our only hope is that it's Samaria lock big key, which was in Meyer
Yeah,
shed.
I got it on my way. I picked up Flute off the swamp so I could do Desert. Got Cane in my shed. I was like, oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
but
I think at that
maybe-
point, Daaanty just dashed to Desert from Swamp.
I did. I was like, should I
Um,
get this flute? And then I don't know. Hindsight, maybe flute would have been like a wash and just like less overworld, like dealing with enemies. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'm not gonna time that, so I don't really know.
I had to go. You had to go to Woo anyway, or CAC, to defeat Moth. Or
Yeah, but
the Skull boss with that fire rod you just found.
that's like 10 tiles south in CAC that, and then a flute transition
What?
or a flute, not transition, but time or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But then I had to run. I guess I had to run to Pod Eastern. So I guess that also, would save. Like, that's why I think it might be a wash at best. But especially since I was we both had old man because there was no way to get. Yeah, a lot of these, it's like, do we have old man done? That kind of depends on if Flute's worth. And I see Andy. We messed up our stack here with our file names, but
Oh, they were flipped on the starting soon screen.
oh
Yeah, they were.
So I was like, oh, I'm on the top. Let's switch. Daaanty was like, all right, if you're gonna check the restream to see what order we're laid out, do it on like a different account so they don't think
don't
you're
accidentally like on the final day of league. Do not have the Andy account in chat. Do not need this to blow up.
Yeah, we
Just-
need an
just for a
admin, an admin or an admin team to look up.
Yeah.
Improper.
I just love that Daaanty was like, oh, Jesse just messaged me. What does Andy's file name mean? And then like 5 seconds later, he's like,
Jesse.
oh, okay. And then he's like, oh, JK, I see the file names coming in now. LOL.
Well, because you had something up different at first. I was like, what's this one mean?
Oh, I had fast and left before we came up with that. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's his, you know.
Well, because you DM'd me,
the
you're like,
NASCAR blood.
There's
Yeah,
like
he was like-
99 seconds or whatever it takes for my stream to update on the SG feed or whatever the delay is. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, GG's,
now
guys.
we got to rely on 3 off the tee to do their part of the bargain.
Does anybody send anything to their PayPal? Or
I also told Daaanty to DM Zaf. I was like, he should probably see what our file names are before we start.
He replied to me, and I saw him in chat at one point here when we came in, because he tagged me. So, perfect.
So yeah, the game, of course, is over on Speed Gaming right now. Taking a quick glance at the situation, I do see an ice rod for TM32 God Route that is not in the possession of 3 off the tee. Other than that, I don't have a ton of info to give.
I think
will say,
if 3 off the tee wins, we just play used bow in round 1, right?
no,
Yeah, I think. Oh, we don't?
no, you guys are the 7 seed. You have the tiebreaker over us
Oh,
for 7 seed. So you guys, I think, will play the division winner. Whoever wins your division is who you'll play. I think we're playing used bow now for sure. I'll leave that to us as an admin team to figure out. But if I remember correctly, I think you guys had one of the tiebreakers over JKLOL.
Okay.
Interesting.
yeah. I guess if God Route wins, then they just have more points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. God Route winning gives them the 7 seed for sure.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I enjoyed
we did
looking
discuss this
over
earlier.
there.
We get to pick 2
Sorry,
modes,
go on.
right? That's how this playoffs work.
I believe so. It's been a while since I read the doc.
Yeah, I'm not going to quote anything because that was something that's like 2+ months ago.
I can't remember what Andy said to me 5 minutes ago. So,
Yeah.
And we have like
Say
3
it
months
wrong.
off or something before playoffs. Is that right?
I don't think so. Not
Yes.
this time.
I believe the first week of playoffs for Invitational starts on the 17th. So there's a bit of time.
Not
Maybe
3
I
weeks.
have internet by then.
Let's hope so.
Let's go.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I've been playing off my work phone 5G for the past 1.5 weeks because my new place came without the fiber converter, and they had to order one, and they're slow. And I've been test streaming for the past 3 days, and it's gone fine. Minute I start to stream today for this, it's just dropping 60% of frames. Like, okay, I guess this is
I
happening.
love that.
That's how it always works.
Yep.
Like back before I had fiber and coax, it was like never did I have an issue streaming, and then it's race day and it's like suddenly, hey, we're just gonna drop packets for like 60 seconds every so often.
I remember one of the first times I got a front page slot for some event. My my like Comcast 500 decided to drop like 85% of my frames that day, and I was like, sick. This is awesome. I love this. I'm just
It's
I'm
like
like
it
that
knows.
meme of that kid that's like, Grass, happy for you, nice. It's just me sitting in my office chair. Yeah, GG's boys. Good luck in playoffs.
Jeez.
Hopefully,
Good
hopefully
luck.
we see you there.
We'll see you in the finals or something.
Probably way before that if we get in.
Yeah,
if not, then
probably.
we'll see you beforehand and laugh
Well,
at
if
you.
we're on different sides of the bracket,
Yeah. Wouldn't you guarantee see us never or finals?
I don't. Are we?
I'd have to look at the bracket.
I mean,
Yeah, if
And
we're the
my
7
understanding
seed,
of how
you
bracket
wouldn't
works.
see. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're the 7 seed, you would see one last.
Yeah. Like you should be playing the second seed first, who
Yeah.
should see us last by seeding purposes. So
Yeah, it resets unless we changed it. It resets. So like,
it
Oh.
resets and
Football.
resets. Right. It's not.
yeah, it's like, yeah.
okay. We're seeing you round 2.
After we see what happens on speed game,
Yeah. Maybe see you never.
y'all might be waiting a long time.
Yeah, see you
Well-
next year.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know. I'm sure Gem Telethar got some
Yeah, go
crazy
-1.
stuff lined up.
Go -1 soon.
Soon.
You're gonna join, right?
Need to know what it is.
To be determined.
It's the best co-op mode.
Oh no. Well then,
not
Mike's
biased
just
at all. I'm not
laughing
opinion,
like,
I'm sure.
LOL, these suckers gonna join this tournament.
It is a madness mode. You should have, if you haven't tried it, you just gotta go and try it.
When's the co-op tournament where we randomly get given an item every 5 minutes?
Not that, but this is.
God,
Well,
what would we do without Muffins coming up with all this dumb crap?
well,
Yeah,
thanks
I don't know.
thanks for
It's
coming,
boring.
guys.
Play a different game.
Yeah, GG's.
GGs.
Play a different game. Oh man. Yeah, thanks for coming, Jesse, Maddie.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for racing.
Yeah. Links to the runners are in chat. Go follow them. You'll be seeing definitely more of Use Bow, and we'll see about Pugs. Go watch the race over on SG. It's the final race of the invitational schedule for the regular season until playoffs. I know there's still some races happening tonight for the Open League. I don't think we have any restreams for any of those though, but there's still some spots to figure out over in the Open League as well. So playoffs are going to be starting soon, and it's going to be plenty of racing deciding champions for leagues. Maddie, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for doing some comps with me, and this was a fun race, and yeah, we'll get to see the other race there if
Go watch speed
helped
gaming.
Pugs. Yeah, if it helped Pugs or not, getting
Yep.
into the playoffs. So,
But with that, have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
bye.